This is our TRX4 Sport assembly kit. Little unboxing sort of preview to the first steps. I'm not going to go too mad on this, just here it is. As you can see, everything's nicely bagged up. Tyres in their own bag. And you've got the body plastics in their own bag. Apparently everything is in their own bag. You don't need to open two bags to do each step. So that's the body plastics, obviously the body shell, which I probably won't do really a video on to how to do that because I'm not very good myself. Just chuck it on the floor a second just to get it out of the way. Working in quite a small worktop. There's the body, as you can see, quite nice. This is the chassis plastic bags, chassis plastic parts, chassis rails, one axle, that is the motor mount and everything, battery mount, that's the other axle, it's the 4 shock absorbers and all the springs, associated stuff you need. Again, everything's in one bag, you just open one bag at a time. That's the transmission, toolkit, and the suspension links. All come ready assembled, which is quite nice. And that is the what are they called? Pinions for the diffs. At the moment we're going to run standard ones, not doing overdrive or underdrive, and obviously the instructions. Okay, let's get on with building it. Right, we've unbagged everything and we're going to do step A now, which is the transmission, which appears to be all in one bag. I've slightly cheated because I had this together already once, but I've stripped it all back down because the video came out terrible, so I'm going to have another go. So this is attempt 2. So all the bearings are already pushed into the cases. But you can't get them wrong. There's a picture, as you can see, there's a picture over here somewhere. All the bearings are in there. Everything's where it should be. Right. So step 2 is the shafts, which is the one with a thread on, which is this one. One of these locating pins, which I can't pick up with fat fingers. Now I've dropped it, hang on. Right, one of these pins goes through the middle hole. Then there's only one gear that's got the spacer on it, which is this one, and that goes pointing away from the thread. So that's that one. They're already greased up, but I will put a bit more on them in a sec. Now we need the 2 by 9.8 pin, which is the one that's got 2 holes at one end, which will be that one. It's got 2 holes at one end, and again, one of these little what do you call them? Pin. They call them a pin, which they are a pin, to be fair. Check the size of the gear against the picture, like over the top, because I did pick up the wrong one the first time round. We've got to put 2 spacers on. There's 2 spacers, long and a short spacer. You can see the difference there. Long spacer goes on this one. Short spacer goes on that one. Okay, page 2, which is steps A to 3. So the picture that goes that way round. This one goes this side, like so. As I say, the bearing's already pressed in. Then that one goes that side. That one's come apart a little bit, hang on. That's it. Okay, so spin freely. They're pushed in. Obviously, every time you put something together, make sure it does spin. Drop of grease. As I say, this has already had grease in them, but we'll put a little bit more in. Don't need a lot because they've already been together. Now take the outer casing, hold it round the right way, outer casing goes on like so, and you can wobble it around a little bit. I'm not shown on the video because I've already done it. Just here is a rubber bung which I put in before I put the two cases together. In the book it shows you putting it together without doing that, but to be honest that was a right pain, so I've done it how I think was better. And there's 5 of these little Allen key screws. Three from this side, 2 from the other side. So nip it up on one side first and then put one of the other ones in to pull it up evenly before you get too carried away, and then just make sure it all spins again freely. Like that is 2 nipped up at one each side just to hold it, and then just make sure it spins, which it does. Right, next job is to put the others in. There's 3 here, sorry 2, already done 1. What I meant was there's 3 this side. So there's 5 in all, so that's 3 this side, 1 there which we need to just nip up a bit more, that one, and 1 in there, which we'll put that on the screwdriver to put that in the hole, like oh, at least the screw stayed there, like so. As I say, this has all been together once, but I messed it up with the video recording. Right, again, make sure it spins freely. Right, on to the next step, which is pushing the bearings into this piece. Transmission cover, transfer case cover I suppose you'd call it, that's what they call it. Make sure the bearings are pushed in. Again, you can't get them wrong, they're all the same, and you can measure them in the book. I will post pictures up of what it should be. Okay, so then we move on to the next page, which is putting a pin, which is a very difficult job. Can you see that? There's a hole in this shaft here that you have to put one of these little gear pins in, which isn't very easy at all, if I'm honest. But there you go, I've got that in relatively easy. That's that metal pin there. Take one of these gears, slide it on, turn it till it locks in. Then use, there's a short one and a long one. So again, one of the little pins. Pay attention to the pictures in the book so they're round the right way. This one goes in the end that's still round. There's a squared off end and a round end. So the pin goes nearest the round end, and the gear slides over from the end with the flats on, like so. And then we have a little washer on the short shaft, points upwards, so the short shaft goes this side. Short shaft goes this side with a washer under it. Now the long shaft, again, put the flats to the right end, the flats go to the left, say, put the pin through, put the gear on, and then this one goes inwards, and you put this little PTFE washer goes on there to give it sort of a spacer, I suppose, almost hold it away from the. And you give that a little turn so it all locks in. Squeeze a little bit of grease in there. Doesn't need much, it's a sealed case. And then this casing goes on. Obviously this will only go one way because the way the gear is. Put that on, hold it together tight, make sure it spins, it still does, and then do the 3 screws up. Again, just nip them up, then again, just give it a spin, make sure it all spins. Next page, which is the last page of the transmission, you can see we've already stuck the friction plates on here. So we take one metal washer, line it up, and it locks on. The gear, the next metal washer. Then there's these 4 little black washers, which have a spring to them. So you have to make sure they're around the right way. You can see in the. You can see in there, you can't, it's just too thin. But they do spring sort of, what's the word, concave. So you need them all around the right way, and in the book there's a picture here. Picture here shows you the washers in the orientation they should be. Right, so that's just going to spin. So what they've done is put a hole on the end of the gear on this output shaft. You can put the small Allen key through that comes with. Put the small Allen key in there, stops it turning. Then they say do it up till the washers are flat, and then go a 1/16 of a turn. And what I'm going to do is just make sure it doesn't slip too freely, and it doesn't, that's fine. Right, that is the transmission done.